Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are all hands on deck here at the Garden Center preparing for our first annual Creekside Signature Experience. Actually, I think when this video airs, we will be the host day of the Signature Experience. That is a Friday, June 21st. Today is Tuesday, so we are not open today. The Garden Center is not open on Tuesdays. Literally every employee is here, minus Mary Claire. Mary Claire is the director of the Signature Experience, so she is doing last minute details. But everybody is down here doing those little last minute projects that just make it even better, right? So the Garden Center, of course, we've been open since, mid-February, and you're working on the things and you're doing all the things. But after a very busy, full spring, it is time to kind of give the Garden Center a little bit of a refresh. We'll be hosting a lot of the activities here for the Signature Experience on Friday. And of course, we want things to look nice. This, of course, will carry on throughout the rest of the season. So I thought it would be fun for you just to kind of come spend the day with us, see how things go, and just kind of a little bit of behind the scenes activity here at Creekside Nursery. So what we're doing first here at the Signature Garden, you can see that the sprinklers are going. We're getting everything watered because, dear heavens, as far as rain goes around here, it is feast or famine. Of course, it's about a month ago, we had the flooding, and then basically since the flooding, it stopped raining. So we've got to water. Jackson is over here working on fixing damage from the flooding, because when the creek overflowed, it really started there at the aquapot. And so from the aquapot all this way down to where the hose link is, that is where the creek really came and overflowed the banks. Obviously, when you've got rushing, gushing water, it will remove any kind of mulch. So we're coming back in and just dressing it up so you can see, like right here, we're down to native soil, and even up around the barberry, like right here, it kind of washed out some of that good mulch. So Jackson is coming in, giving it a nice little refresh and making everything look neat and tidy. Jerry is kind of running around on the Bobcat right now, putting down some more mulch. We'll go over there, and then just a quick look at the Signature Garden. Everything is looking so nice and lush and happy. The Hoopla Vivid Orchid Petunia, of course, is just filling in so nice. But yeah, so everything is great. Today is Tuesday. Chandler will come on tomorrow, Wednesday, to go ahead and do the final cut of the grass. This is the area that is going to be, we call it the Nook. So the Nook is where we'll have our kind of opening ceremonies, meetings, workshops will take place here. So all the chairs will be here. Cleome, I don't know that we've actually showed you the Cleome yet. So this is Senorita Blanca, of course, a beautiful white Cleome. And we went ahead and planted it in mass, and it just looks so lovely here. That's what Jerry was coming back through, with just a little bit more of the compost just to top dress this. But the Cleome is, this is not on irrigation. We love it because it's white, it's light, it's airy. Once it's established, it's relatively drought tolerant. The pollinators love it, your butterflies love it, and it's just a really nice addition to this space. Now, when we were creating this space, we had taken apart our display gardens, because if you remember, before we started construction on the Signature Garden, we had like the display gardens where people could come walk through. So Jerry dug up a lot of the plants and moved them, but some of the soil still had little pieces of maybe a plant in there. So look, this is why we have the Rogue Coffee Cups elephant ear, because obviously when he dug it up, he got the main part of it, but there was a piece that broke off, and then when he was moving soil around, it got replanted right there. So we have a Rogue Coffee Cups right there. I'm thinking that that's going to get dug up and moved to a different location, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have that right there in the middle of the Cleome. It's not exactly spaced right. So Jackson is working on mulch, Jerry's working on mulch, water is going in the garden, try not to get wet. And then I've got a bunch of sweet people working on weeding, because weeding is always a never-ending task. Before we go there, can I just show you, as we were walking by the signature garden, the eucomis. This is Princess Bride. Look how happy this plant is. So this is, of course, is a really fun perennial. We're gonna try not to get wet here. And I've got 3 of them right there in a row, and they are blooming. It is such a cool plant. Look at that. Princess Bride eucomis. Really cool. Really, really, really nice. And then I could not be happier, of course, with the raised beds here, with the Superbena pink cashmere has just filled in so incredibly nice. We have little lime punches going all the way down. I cannot wait, because for the signature experience, one of the presentations that morning of Friday morning, we have Dr. Judson LeCompte and Megan Matai from Spring Meadow Nursery. They are part of the research, development, breeding program at Spring Meadow. And Megan is actually the breeder of Little Lime Punch. So this is one of her introductions. So I can't wait to hear all about the backstory on Little Lime Punch and all sorts of fun other plants. So Judson is a lot over the roses with Spring Meadow and Proven Winners, and so that's always a really cool, interesting talk to hear him talk about how they select roses for Proven Winners and the different categories and the different elements that they're looking in at roses, because I never even thought about some of the things that they have to think about. Then what I'm getting ready to do here in just a second is turn my attention to the 2025 introduction bed. Cece's done a great job, and the staff has done a great job as far as maintaining it. There's just a few little weeds in here, so I just need to come in, pick up a little bit of weeds, right? There's just a few, and then I need to go ahead and probably deadhead the dahlias. That is the thing with dahlias. I don't care what kind of dahlias you have. Deadheading is kind of a big deal with your dahlias. So we have the yellow ones here that need to be deadheaded, and then we have pink ones down on the end. So we're gonna go ahead and get those deadheaded as well. So I'm gonna work on that. We're trying to really beat the heat, because oh my word, y'all, it is, summer has arrived. I know it doesn't officially arrive until Friday, the 21st, but ask anybody that's been outside the last week and they will tell you that summer has most definitely arrived. I want to go ahead, these hanging baskets, they look like poo. I don't like them. So I think what we're going to do is, some of them we're going to trim back. So if it's the green basket, we're going to trim them back, get them refreshed, and then the cocoa liners, we're going to go ahead and empty them out and then plant them with caladiums, because we have so many caladiums and they make great hanging baskets. So we're going to plant those with caladiums. We're going to work on that. Like Leela is coming through and just touching all the plants on the tables, making sure there's no weeds in there, deadheading anything. And then I've got the crew up here on the bank bed. Now, there are certain things that we're just not going to worry about, y'all, because we just don't have time. One of those things is this area right here. Now, I know it looks terrible, but you know what? It is what it is. This is from the flooding where we had the massive amount of water that came running down, and it literally created this, valley right here. And so this is going to require construction, because you can see that it just washed out completely and brought tons of our gorgeous red clay here on the soil. So we just don't have time to worry about that before Friday. Excuse me, it's kind of the last on the list. But what my sweet people are in here working on is this flower bed, this display bed that is directly behind the pergola. They're weeding it, cleaning it up, looking for any kind of crazy things that don't belong here. But we've got hydrangeas and hibiscus and daylilies and monardas and what else do we have? Shasta daisies and loropetalums, you name it, there's all sorts of things in here. So they are weeds. Emily says there's weeds. And Em, I'll let you, this is this right here.
A weed, we know.
Okay, they know. So that, yeah, definitely a weed. So they're just getting in here and just trying to knock it down. Again, we're not going for perfection here, people. We're just going for neat and tidy and cleaned up, and because there is grace in gardening. So that is what we're doing. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and hop off of here. We're gonna go weed the garden. I'll meet you back here once I am done weeding. We'll check in on them. I know we're gonna be working in the pines. We've got all sorts of things. Mimi's coming down. It's just a whole plethora of activities here at the nursery. So I'll check back with you in just a little bit. Another project that we are tackling for today is more river rock. Water flows everywhere around here at Creekside. We were just looking back at footage. So on the flooding, right, happened on May the 8th. On May the 4th is when we got 7 inches of rain in like 5 hours. When that happened, that was a Saturday, and we had water flowing, you know, off of here and then coming down. So where Andrew and Jerry are, I actually took a video to send Andrew because that was a Saturday, and I sent it to him. I was like, yeah, we got another problem we got to fix. Little did we know more was coming. But so because of that footage and being able to see how the water flowed, it flowed right through the flower bed that we are creating to make it a bog garden. So what we did is took that footage, took that information, and then ordered more of the river rock. Jerry had this small bobcat and was kind of scooping out where the river rock is going to go, and now they're creating and raising up the side beds. So this whole section will be the flower bed, and then kind of where Jerry is standing back here will be the flower bed. And then this path right here is going to be the river rock. That's going to go all the way up here and connect there. And so then they're going to bring in and add more rock right in here, because from the footage we could tell that that's really where water was flowing. And you can see because in the rock is some of that mulch. So by, you know, just letting the water flow over that is a very good thing. So this is decent size. I don't know what you would actually, the size of this rock would be considered. But you know, it's not little small pebbles, and it's not like big boulders, right? It's a nice medium size. I mean, sure, you got some bigger ones in here, but the water flowed really, really well over this and did not move any of the rock, which is exactly what we want. We want the water just to flow over it and move on. Now, down in here, in this whole area, is a French drain. So as it flows through, it drains. Now, you can see Emily is coming in and is trimming up the jazzberries, because when we planted them, we did a double row. They're doing exactly what I wanted them to do. We have full coverage all the way down to the rocks. But of course, obviously, they're gonna grow both ways. So we're having to keep them maintained off of the boxwoods. We don't want them going in super severe into there. So that is what she is doing, is coming in and giving us a nice little clean edge. I find a weed, we pull the weed, and then we move on. So she's just kind of doing those, has the scissors, that's just kind of the fastest way, give it a nice little cleanup, and then she is tossing her debris over here. So that is what we're gonna do. I've almost gotten the 2025 bed cleaned up, so they are coming through here, gonna put out the river rock, and then I think we're gonna go ahead and top dress the flower bed with some of the aged pine bark vines. That is a great way to come in and just kind of dress it up. A little bit tidying up the whole area with these guys. And so the bags, once they get done moving soil, and they know exactly where everything's gonna go, then they'll start spreading that. But yes, the projects continue. I wanna show you while we're in here, because we haven't talked about this. We talked about it at the house, but we haven't talked about these guys. Back here on this back corner, these are quickfire hydrangeas. And these are the big ones, right? Obviously. Y'all, these are one of the biggest attractors of pollinators as far as a hydrangea that I have ever seen. They have such big, huge, open blooms on them that pollinators of all shapes and sizes. You've got honeybees, you've got little tiny wasp in here. I see ants. I have true wasp, which are, you know, not my favorite. You get bumblebees, you get all sorts of things in here, especially when the heat comes on in the day. This thing will be absolutely buzzing, and it has the sweetest fragrance to it. So if you were looking to add some height to your garden, and that's why when we planted this bank years ago, I mean, I knew that I wanted back here to have some statement pieces, and at that time I was like, I don't have any quick fires anywhere. So let's do those, because there's 3 of them. They're huge. They're not on irrigation. They've been here probably 5 years, maybe 6 years. And of course they're a panicle hydrangea, so you just cut them down, trim them every late winter, and then bam. And they are gorgeous. Love the smell, and I love the fact that they are bringing in the pollinators. So Jerry is dumping the first pallet. It's interesting how to do that because they're in those cages. You don't want to have to hand toss those things out because it takes forever. So makes a little bit of a mess, but you know, use the equipment, use what you got, basically dump it, and then we can spread it that way. So they're gonna keep working. We'll come back and look at that. Check on everybody as things progress. All right. On to the next project. Okay, my friends, so we've had a little bit of time lapse since we last chit-chatted. Got a lot of stuff done, and a lot of sweat has been produced. Let me just tell you that. I did get the 2025 intro bed weeded and deadheaded. Not that much had to really be done in here, so there's not a huge transformation in here. Now we do have the weeds that are right here that had been sprayed. I'm just going to leave them. They'll get nice and crispy and blow off. It'll be just fine. So everything in here is been taken care of. So we just need to let it grow, bloom, and thrive. Then I took it upon myself to take over this flower bed. This flower bed has been driving me crazy basically all season long. There were some perennials in there that were just on the struggle bus, so took them out, put down a fresh layer of mulch, moved the little butterfly houses, got them in prime location, weeded it. Oh, it just makes it look so much better. The Gnophofia, if you have Gnophofia, red hot pokers, this is the Pyromania series. This might be Backdraft, I think. Could be wrong on that. But if you have Gnophofia, it does do well to deadhead it. So this is one that could be like questionable whether you deadhead this one. I easily could have, but it does have a little top here that is still blooming. So when you deadhead Gnophofia, just come in and clip it right here. And then, because that helps encourage all your new little buds coming up. So there's a bunch in there, and that is such a fun little plant to have, you know, growing a great perennial for us in North Carolina, zone 8A. It is a evergreen. So even in the dead of winter, it looks like a grass, like an evergreen grass. In fact, we have some customers that are not familiar with Gnophofia, and they're like, what is that grass that's blooming? So it definitely does get mistaken for a grass because of its texture, and then it has those gorgeous flowers. Now, y'all, this is a transformation over here. Look at this. Ta-da! Does that not look like $1,000,000 right there? I mean, so much nicer. Got the rock in, got that fresh layer. What we were using, and I use the same in the flower bed that I was working in, that is the Daddy Pete's, the soil conditioner. And so it's the aged pine bark vines. So there you go. It's easy because it's in a bag, so you can easily move it around. You don't have to have machinery to do that. Yeah, but it's just pieces of pine bark that's been aged. So there you go. And of course, it's all different levels of, you know, how big and how chunky it is. And this is a great way to use to amend soil. If you have compacted clay soil, this is a great way to use it and to amend that soil. And then you can also use it as a mulch. But now, oh, look at that. Now I could plant. Well, I could have planted beforehand. I'm not going to because we don't have enough time before the signature experience. So we'll do that after the signature experience. I've got some really fun water loving plants that are going to go in there and take care of that, and that's going to do well as well. Oh, look. Ooh. Okay, so what they did is they also came back in and got the river rock all freshened up right here. We had talked about this, gosh, month. Well, when we did the jazzberries, that would have been like 6 weeks ago, I guess. We talked about how when we put the river rock in, that it looked weird because it wasn't level as far as in the width. So this part was more narrow than the top part way up there. So it looked really odd. So what they did is just made it even. So it's the even same width all the way down. And that just looks so good. So good. And then came back through, added a little bit of mulch right here, right? So that was a part that washes when we have the flooding. So they got that all cleaned up. Jackson got the rest of that mulch all spread out over here on this side. I'm telling you, y'all, this is what I tell customers, I tell my employees, I tell anybody that'll listen. Neat and tidy is better than, you know, having it messy. Like, you don't have to plant plants, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? You don't have to come in here and completely re-landscape something. No, just add a nice little layer of pine needles or mulch or whatever it is that you use, and it makes it look so much better. Now, we're gonna head over here to the pines because I haven't been over here to see what's been happening over here. This is where it's, you know, a good 15 degrees cooler over here, and we can check on the flower bed behind the pergola because they've long been finished with that. Kind of see how that looks. And yeah, so we have just knocking stuff off the list left and right. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So they took care of the bank right here, got that all neat and tidied up, kind of sprinkled out some fresh mulch. Looks like some pine needles are in there as well. So that's nice and neat and tidy. And then of course, this bank bed looks really, really nice. The daylilies are popping right now. The Monarda still is in some spots, depending on which ones it is. And then the hibiscus are getting ready to come in, and the hydrangeas are getting ready to fill in. So yeah, that looks great. It looks great. So over here in the pines, basically just trying to organize, freshen up, make sure that everybody has kind of been touched and is looking good and organized. And I mean, just, it looks great in here, right? Because you've got the gorgeous hydrangeas that are doing wonderful. These, of course, are the macrophylla type hydrangeas. A lot of the Let's Dance series, tucking in perennials and annuals in there, and just making sure the whole neat and tidy. And yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna come spend the rest of the day, is over here, because holy, it is toasty. So yeah, so that is an update for what is happening on around right here. I'm not sure what's on the list. Cece had prepared a couple of lists by zones. So I'm gonna go through, check off, see what needs to be done, see what she has on task, and just keep on moving down the list. All right, my friends, so today we are done for the day. It is 4:30 in the afternoon. Cece and Meredith are doing just a little bit of last minute watering for the plants. Got to keep them nice and hydrated in this heat. But man, it has been such a productive day. We all feel really good. We're not completely done. There's a couple more little last minute projects we have to do, but we have 2 more days to get those done. So that will be plenty of time to get done what we need to get done. I wanted to show you, Andrew went and grabbed like a trailer full of some pine needles, got here, on the creek bank. Got those all nice and fluffed up. We've got some B&Bs that didn't make it, so he'll get rid of those tomorrow. But yeah, so I'm telling you, fresh pine needles, fresh mulch make all the difference in the world. And speaking of, let's just go ahead and mosey up back this way. Meredith just watered the 2025 bed, so they're all nice and happy and looking good. Got weeded, deadheaded, just beautiful. The panicle phloxes are starting to come into season. That's the luminary opal essence. I love that color and it smells divine. One of the things we did not get done was the hanging baskets. That's on tomorrow's agenda for the afternoon because we can do that in the shade, so we'll take care of that. All the tables have been touched. They have been deadheaded, they have been weeded, they have been organized. It all looks lovely. With the pine needles, went ahead and did this bank as well. Just dressing it up, my friends, dressing it up. It's not perfect. We know it's not gonna be perfect. Never will be, never has been, but it certainly can look a little bit better. Same thing on this side. We have the anemones. That's the Fall in Love Sweetly anemone, where they can just kind of go and have fun. And if they want to expand, they can, and naturalize. But all that has beautiful pine needles in it. So it just looks so nice and dressed up. And then we spent most of the afternoon here in the pines because it is in the shade and it is so much cooler. Cece went ahead and redesigned this little nook around the pine tree. And it looks great, right? So you've got a collection of plants that absolutely could be planted together in a landscape just how they are, right? Spacing obviously is not accurate, but as far as the plants and the growing conditions, so sweet with some macrophylla hydrangeas and Japanese maples, and you've got hostas in here, and you've got carex and euchras, acubas, all sorts of fun things. And then this was fun. This was kind of one of my little projects this afternoon. Took the white Michael Carr pots, and y'all, I had every intention this year of planting these pots with the tiered planter. That is probably one of our most popular videos that we ever did a couple years ago, where you plant the container, but it has this tiered, and it has a basket up at the top, and you plant annuals in the top and the side, and it's beautiful. So I had everything ready to go for that, and then we were totally gonna do that, except now it's the end of June and we didn't do it. And so those white pots were sitting where the creek bank, where I just showed you where the pine needles were. I was like, they can't stay here. And I was like, let's bring them over here to the pines, and we planted them. So they are fully planted. We actually had 2 Aquapot lights inserts that had been, like the packaging had been damaged, like the inserts themselves weren't damaged. So I said, perfect. So we used those inserts in these pots just to prove that we did. We've got, see the little blue flower? So there you go. That's where you fill in with the water. There are 3 plants in here, y'all. We have a Florida Sunshine, we have a Macrophylla hydrangea, and then the Euchra, the evening gown. Now, the hydrangea, I actually did the nursery a favor, right? And I did you customers a favor, because there was no label, there's no name on that hydrangea. It had gotten, the tag had gotten lost, whatever, so there was no name. So it's a Let's Dance, but I don't know if it's a Reba, I don't know what it is. So I took one for the team and planted a mystery hydrangea in this container, but I love it. I love how it looks, and yes, this is a predominantly shade container, shade plants, but here late in the afternoon at 4:30, it's getting some light on it, and it's fine, because look, there's a hosta, a massive blue hosta that has been growing here for years, and clearly it doesn't mind that little bit of sun. So that's okay. Remember, shade is gonna be 4 hours or less. This does not stay in the sun till 4:30. So it definitely is a shade container. And then, see, I love having the 2 white containers flanking, like this really balance each other, but they're not planted anything like each other. In this container, we did completely, right now at least, full foliage plants. There's not one flower in here, but you get lots of color and interest and texture. So We have the Gold Dust Akuba, we have that Everilla Carex, we have the Jacob's Ladder, and so that is the Heaven Scent. Now it will die back in the wintertime. Then we have a miniature cast iron plant, and then the Hosta. So the Hosta and the Jacob's Ladder will die back in the winter, but in the wintertime, you will have the cast iron plant, the Carex, and the Akuba all being an evergreen. So really fun on that. Emily and Leela were moving things around. They did a cute little collection here with tea olives in the back, Mr. Charleston Boy and some hostas in there, right? Just getting everything neat and tidy and watered. Mimi came through and put some caladiums there in the refrigerator. Don't you love that? How it just like, I hope the camera's picking it up, but that red, it grabs your attention like from a far distance. So that's really fun. And then of course, just the neat and tidy. Emily was doing a lot of the unique stone, putting unique stone out because we still had a lot of little pieces that had not been put out, you know, for sale per se. So you will see she's got all of her little people lined up, and nice collection so that you can come and shop. We have pieces throughout. So we've got angels, we have got all the cute little boys, and we have the little girls hanging out. Her personal favorite though was the geckos, the garden geckos. Look at the pigs, look how cute they are. I think that's Millie and Molly. So you've got the little pigs right here, you've got more angels, and then her table of geckos, the garden geckos. So stinking cute. So it has been a fantastic day. I know that tomorrow we've got Jerry and Andrew are going to work on, we've got a drainage issue here. So they're going to go ahead and fix this tomorrow so that way it won't be goopy, because our guest for the signature experience will be eating Bolton's lunch. So Bolton's will be here, so we need to make sure this is nice and all put together. So a couple more little things that we have to do, but overall, man, we feel great about getting this done. It has been a great day, tons of hard work, but when you're all working together, you don't feel quite so overwhelmed because you know that you're not alone and you've got all these other people in there helping you. So very fun day. And yes, so if you're curious about the signature experience, we will have a photographer here all day. So we'll have tons of pictures, still pictures to share with you as time goes by. And then we will be also filming throughout the day. I'll be talking some, I don't know how much, and then we'll kind of show you a little bit behind the scenes. So we will have a video. Obviously, we're not going to film everything because that's the whole point of the signature experience, is that people get to come and experience for themselves. But we will bring you along kind of a behind the scenes, along for the ride, and some clips here and there, and just share with you how the day goes. So that'll be in a couple of days. So give us some time to recover and recoup and get everything edited, but we will share that experience with you. And yeah, so we're super excited, a little scared, a little nervous. Never done this before. You know, the first time's always the scariest, but we are super well prepared. We cannot wait to have our guests come and spend the day with us. It's gonna be a ton of fun. So as always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have an amazing day. I'm gonna go get a nice cold drink and sit on the back porch. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.